Dear friends, we are at the Knesset of Israel, where the lawmakers of the Jewish state are here. And what an amazing meeting to see one of the voices of love and support for the Jewish state coming out of our own Yishai Fleisher, who's a famous Jew here, who's a spokesman for Hebron community and for the entire Jewish people, who now is known all over the world because he became an advocate for the Jewish state. Yishai, what a pleasure seeing you.
Nice to see you, Rabbi. Spasiba.
And it's so important that Yishai actually was born here in Israel to the parents who came from Leningrad.
That's right.
From Lenin. In other words, we have a Russian Jew who loves Israel. Later on, the parents moved to America. You were born in New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
I was born in Haifa.
Oh, you were born in Haifa, but were raised in New Jersey.
That's right.
And when you were 17,
I came back here.
You came back here.
That's right.
And since 17, you're here.
No, I was here for 17 till 21. I was in the army. I was in yeshiva. And then I went back to America for another 7 years to Yeshiva University, to New York. And then I came back here after finishing Yeshiva University and Cardozo Law School. Met my wife. We came to Israel to get married. Went back to school, finished up another year. And then, Baruch Hashem, thank God, I've been living here for 22 years, thank God.
And you became one of the most outstanding voices. And you were basically broadcasters, this British guy, journalist,
Piers Morgan.
Yeah. And he put you against the most vicious anti-Semites, and you stood your ground and you defended the Jewish state. Tell us maybe a few moments, like what did you feel and what gave you strength to support Israel with these difficult interviews?
They're not really difficult when you know your truth. I always tell people it's not so important the knowledge. What's more important is the stance,
the conviction.
And the way your posture. My posture is aggressive, like a Russian Jew. My posture is that we're right, and that I know the tricks of our enemies, and I know that they're lying, and I'm not afraid to call them out. And also another posture is a sense of humor and an easy smile. You can't always be, fighting and angry. You sometimes have to laugh at them and to feel a kind of lightness inside because you know your truth and you know God's truth. And so that gives me strength.
And what is the most important message that you want to share with the world, and especially that our Russian-speaking Jews all over the world can take and carry it and share it with their friends and families?
Well, I guess one of the most important things to know is that the occupation myth is that we don't belong here, we're not from here, we're taking it from somebody else. And that's one of the most fundamental things that you have to know. And you could know it both through history and through God and through Torah. You could see it in both ways. God gave us this land, yes, and we're also the indigenous people of this land, which the world recognized. And both of those are true. Both of those are true. So you have to know that the big accusation out there is one of the biggest lies, and that we're in a time that God has given us the opportunity to fight, and that we have to fight, and that we can't just put our head down and not care about the story of the Jewish people. It's an amazing time in history, and to be part of it is exciting. And it's a passion, it's a love. It's a passion to raise your children here, to get married here, raise your children here, and to fight in this army. It's a passion to be part of a national movement, the rebirth of the Jewish people in this land in Yerushalayim. The building of Jerusalem is the most beautiful and exciting thing in the world, and it's the representation of God in this world.
And we're talking to possibly thousands and thousands of young Russian Jews across the United States of America, and many of them watching from a side. We would love them to be part of this historic movement of supporting Israel, standing for Israel now. What would you tell them? A guy who's just having his regular life, and you want to tell him, wake up.
Well, I mean, you can't not see the anti-Semitism around. You can't miss the attacks that Israel has on it. And so there are great opportunities, and there are many levels of opportunities. You can invest in Israel. You could come here in the summertime. You can make sure that your kids learn here for the year. And you could go all the way up to making aliyah, living here. You could also buy a bottle Friday night, a bottle of wine from the land of Israel, only wine from the land of Israel. There's great California Zinfandels. But you buy a wine from the land of Israel and say, I stand with the Jewish people tonight. I make kiddush, I make a blessing on the wine of the land of Israel. You have vacation time, book it to come to the land of Israel. Be part of it. Find a way to be part of it. You know an Israeli friend? Hire him. Whatever it is, take a step towards it, a step. Find your step. Maybe it's just to take a picture that you love from the internet and to blow it up and put it in your house. Yerushalayim. You know, we have a mitzvah that you're supposed to put a little piece of your wall unfinished to remember Jerusalem. And that's the halakha, that's the Jewish law. But take it another step. Also put a picture of beautiful rebuilt Jerusalem in your house. Make it also something positive, not just negative about the destroyed temple, but about our movement towards rebuilding the third temple.
What about maybe an extreme but very important proposal? I was sitting with my sons and their families, their wives, and one of them turned to me and said, Papa, you know, Papa, Father, yeah? Do you know how many days I served in Miluim? First of all, he served 3 years in the army, and then on October 7th, he volunteered back to his paratroopers unit. So I said, how many? 360. And another one is about the same. And they said, you know, next year we're going to serve at least 60, 70 days as well. And I said to myself, why? Because not enough soldiers. And I have so many thousands of young people that ask me, what can I do for Israel? What if someone will come and volunteer or maybe even enlist in the IDF and support those people who already fought for so long? So I would suggest people actually to consider and volunteering and enlisting in the IDF, even though you live in the United States. You can serve here in the Israeli army.
For me, it was one of the greatest privileges of my life to serve in the Israeli Armed Forces, and I continue to. I even left the Miluim, the reserves, but they called me back in. And it's an honor, and it's fun, and it helps you connect to Israel, and it helps you be a strong Jew. And that's a great feeling. You can't deny that. You know, just being able to hold a gun in the defense of the Jewish people is just an amazing feeling. And so it's an opportunity. And what could be more holy than putting on the clothes of an Israeli army soldier? And you could do that in your life. And if you have even an instinct to do that, then you should certainly fulfill that instinct and indeed become a soldier in the IDF.
And I have to tell you, you are the soldier of Israel in your own unique way. Because every time you get the microphone in your hands, it's not less important than taking the gun in your hands. Maybe even because the words, your words matter. And anybody in the world who has an ability to express its support for Israel on social media, stand against anti-Semitism and against hatred of Israel, is joining your forces of media war for the Jewish state.
Rabbi, there's a simple phrase that we all have to know. Legitimacy equals security. And delegitimization means a lack of security, a weakening of security. And that's what our enemies want to do. They delegitimize us. And then they weaken our ability to get the arms that we need, to fight the way we need to fight. So delegitimization is actually a war tool. What I call the narrative war is a tool to weaken our armed forces and to weaken and destroy Israel, which is what they want to do. So fighting Israel's let's watch out here. Fighting Israel's war of legitimacy is an absolutely integral way to defend Israel, and everybody should do it. The simplest way to do it is put up pictures of Israel, the beautiful Israel, the strong Israel. Put up pictures of that on your Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Just that does a lot to give people strength for the future of Israel.
I want to thank you, Yishai, wishing you success, and I want to urge everyone to join Yishai in his war of words.
That's right.
For peace and security of Israel.
That's right.
And we're actually developing apps and special systems to allow our Russian-speaking diaspora to stand for Israel together. I want to wish you all peace and security and victory.
That's right.
That will bring the peace.
That's right. That
Not
victory.
less than victory.
That's right. Thank you, Rabbi. You're absolutely right. And victory is both physical victory and eternity. The Jewish people, that's Netzach. It's Chiyut, the eternity of the Jewish
people. The word
people.
Netzach means eternity.
Yeah.
And the word Nitzachon means victory. How
the word Netzach in general could mean physical victory now. It could also mean the eternity.
Correct.
And that's what the Jewish people, if we didn't win right now, we'll beat you in 1,000 years.
In other words, we don't want to win just a battle.
That's
we
right.
want to win the war
That's
of
right.
eternity.
And the only way we win that is when we're connected to God. That's the other side of it.
And
both sides are true. You got to be a strong Jew on the battlefield and a strong Jew with God. Those two netzachs, those two victories, the eternity and the physical victory, they come together.
And I would add one word. The way to connect to God is to connect to each other. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Rabbi.
Thank you.